Last up, we have Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2. Mushoku Tensei, the peak of all isekai, the peak of all character writing, the peak world building, the peak everything. Or is it Vsauce music? I have opinions about this season of Mushoku Tensei. So, everything that I'm about to say right now is excluding episode 11. So, episodes 1 to 10. Fucking S tier, man. Fucking S tier. Easy fucking S tier. God, this is just more Mushoku Tensei. And it arguably had one of the best episodes of Mushoku Tensei out right now. I mean, obviously, you see the animation quality of season 1 was fucking god tier and almost looked like a movie as well. But number one, the audacity to air episode 10 on fucking Father's Day. This one came with the fucking disrespect, man. You're like, all right, you guys are celebrating Happy Father's Day? All right, cool. But the thing about Mushoku Tensei that always stands out is just no matter how slowly paced the episodes are, I would actually say a lot of the first half of this season, I might have even enjoyed more. A lot of the second half of the season was like dungeon crawling, which eventually led up to this massive thing. But I also really enjoyed the writing and the arcs to do with his sister and Rudy just learning to be an older brother. The older brother he should be, and really just making sure and being like overprotective and kind of like having this realization of the type of effects he has on his sister's like emotional state. I thought that was like super fucking interesting, and no, there was like no big fucking dramatic thing happening, but to me, that's where Mushoku Tensei shines the most. It's the character writing, it's the small moments and the lessons that you learn with every action you take. Episode 10 happened, and it was horrible. It was not horrible. It was great. Didn't really surprise me too much. It felt like this was a natural way for things to go. And I will say the action in that episode was fantastic. One of the best episodes that this series has ever done. Then episode 11 happened. I have not screamed that hard at a TV screen since reading Domestic Girlfriend. Sydney was up in her office and she heard me screaming and she was like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And I'm like, and all I could say was, this bitch, what is going on right now? What is happening? She goes back in and she continues to doing work, and I'm just like, ain't no way. That's a Sydney POV. It's just me fucking losing my mind in the background, man. So, decisions were made. Things happened in the final episode of Mushoku Tensei. Okay, this is very, very important. At the time of this recording, the final episode has not come out. So, my opinion could have changed because a lot of what I'm about to say very much relies on how the final episode plays out. So, I have seen a lot of talk about this episode of Mushoku Tensei. Especially down to the fact that it's going down the harem route, right? And as soon as it did that, I was like, doesn't surprise me. I didn't know it was coming, but it didn't surprise me at all in terms of Rudy as a character. And did I believe for a second that Rudy was going to be faithful to his wife? No. Not for a single second. We knew the type of person that Rudius was. And I've seen a lot of people get upset about the fact that, you know, obviously what he did was a dick move. And what Roxy did was also a dick move. They both did things that were not great and did not show their character in a positive light. That I don't think you can argue, right? Even if all parties are okay with a harem ending and a harem route, the manner in which it was done felt a bit dickish. And I think that is fine to go down that route, because one of the things that has made Mushoku Tensei stand out is the fact that every character makes mistakes and is flawed, and they learn from it and they make sure that that big decision or that big mistakes leads to a learning moment to grow their character. I don't have a problem with the harem route. My problem is with how it was executed, because the biggest thing I couldn't stop thinking during this episode was, what does Rudy learn from all this? We know Rudy is a flawed person. He's done things that are creepy, that I don't agree with, but every time it seems like he did something like that before, it was always done to at least characterize him, or it was always done as a stepping stone for a learning lesson to come. So when the events happened, I was waiting for that moment when the consequences hit, right? I was waiting for that moment where you're like, all right, you've done a dick move. I'm ready for the tea, baby. I'm ready for the fucking tea. And then it didn't. And then absolutely nothing happened at all. There were no seeming consequences out of this. There were no learning lessons out of this. In fact, it really seemed like the characters were rewarded for acting and doing bad things, or it really felt like they were rewarded for being a dickhead. And I was waiting, because I was like, Elianise, oh fuck, what's her name again? No, the fucking grandma. I was like, oh, she's gonna bring down the whip, baby. She is going to bring down the whip. And then she's like, actually, it was my idea. I was like, what? And then I was like, okay, maybe Roxy didn't know. Rudy, you should really be saying right now that you have a wife and a kid's coming. Rudy, you should be really saying this right now. So I was like, Roxy, okay, maybe Roxy doesn't know. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she just was, in the heat of the moment. And then it was like, I knew the entire time. And I was just like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? And then I was like, okay, maybe Rudy is going to realize and regret his actions. Maybe there's going to be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. And then the worst we get is like I'm a scumbag. Oh well, already forgotten about that. I'm happy now. And the biggest thing that threw me off right out of all of this was this motherfucker had a 12-episode arc curing his depression via erectile dysfunction because he got fucking dumped by a girl. His fucking father just died in front of his eyes in the most horrific way possible. And then that was completely fucking solved in like a millisecond thanks to chasing some bird, man. The fact that we went through such a big character arc to cure that part of his depression, and then this part, which should seemingly be like a much bigger deal, it was just like instantly solved in the weirdest way possible. And for the first time, it just felt like the writing was off. It just felt like there was no consequences to any action. There was no learning lesson. There was no point where people would try to become a better person. It kind of just felt like this was the kind of plot progression I would expect from a typical harem isekai, I am a guy that likes domestic girlfriend, that likes rent-a-girlfriend. I love the fucking tea. I watch so many trashy isekai. I have no problem with something being like your generic power fantasy, things going the harem route, and some spicy fucking drama with people making the wrong decisions. I fucking love that. But I always viewed Mushoku Tensei as like something different. The reason I'm getting so emotional about this is because I thought this was such a beautiful story that played into a grander point of trying to become a better person, of trying to learn from your mistakes, make new mistakes, learn from those mistakes. And for the first time, it felt like that point of the story wasn't coming across in the most recent events. That is why it really, really left me conflicted with the events. I'm not surprised that Rudy went the harem route. What I would expect to come with it is that he gets some shit for it. With everything that's happening right now, I feel like there should be something that is, there should be some consequences to his actions. Surely. Sylphie gave him permission when they first got together. See, that's the biggest thing. Right? Like, these are the common things I see about this world, right? People say that, oh, okay, polygamy is common in this world. Okay, I buy that. Sylphie gave him permission to have multiple wives. Okay, I buy that. Like I said, I've got no issue with the harem aspect of this. But no matter how you put it, Rudy told Sylphie that he would stay faithful. And at the end of the day, he didn't ask for he didn't even get Sylphie's permission. You know, it's kind of seems like a dick move. It just seems like a dick move to me. And Roxy as well. Obviously, Roxy. You know, Roxy doing what she did for a emotionally vulnerable Rudy as well. Also, kind of seems like a dick move. Whatever. Characters are flawed. That was never my big problem with it. I just want more tea. But this is why I said it very much depends on what happens in that last episode. Whether he gets any, at least like the smallest pushback, you know? Even when his father did what he did, at least there was some fucking repercussions to it. At least he got some pushback. It almost tore his family apart, for fuck's sake. Maybe this plays into something wider. I don't know. Maybe this will get addressed in the very next episode. I don't know. But I think the best way that I can verbalize my opinions of what happened in episode 11 as it stands without seeing the wider consequences, if there are going to be any, it just didn't sit right with me. It's the way that it played out just didn't sit right with me. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And I would not give a shit at all if I thought Mushoku Tensei was on the same level as your spicy domestic girlfriend, as your rent-a-girlfriend. I would be cheering for this shit. But to me, Mushoku Tensei to me was like peak isekai. So that's why I'm being so harsh on it. So we will have to see. I don't know how to rate this. Because it all depends on the final episode. So we'll have to see how the final episode plays out. Gonna be interesting. Gonna be interesting.